Welcome to the forecast for March 24th until March 30th. My name is Desiree DeLune, your acupuncturist, herbalist, astrologer, giving you the details on what's coming up this week. Look, this is a big week. We have a solar eclipse happening towards the end of the week. We have a Mercury Cazimi happening on Monday. I mean, you know the storms of change that everybody's talking about for 2025? Well, here it is. Welcome. We are in the thick of it, and Aries season is here, and we're going to have Neptune changing into Aries towards the end of the month, but that's going to be reserved for next week's forecast. The point is that things are happening quickly, fast, lots of change, especially being in eclipse season. We are in an eclipse window where we have a lunar eclipse and then 2 weeks later, a solar eclipse. And eclipses, like the intensity of the eclipses, which we're all feeling right now because, the lunar eclipse was just a week ago, it lasts for about 2 weeks. And then it echoes actually for 6 months. So this is a North Node eclipse, and this is the one that highlights new beginnings. So stick around towards the end of the week when I dive into solar eclipse. So let's go ahead and share my screen, and please make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you're notified every time a new video is up every week, as well as share away with anyone who needs this very important information. Okay. Let me make this big for you. Here we go. So we're going to be kicking off Monday with a Mercury Cazimi. Look, we are full force into Aries season. You'll see that the sun here is at 4 degrees, 10 minutes. And then look at Mercury right here. Mercury is also at 4 degrees at 37 minutes. And they're very close to each other within minutes in its range. Now, what this means is that Mercury is exalted. The Mercury is at the seat of the throne of the sun. It's at the heart of the sun. And so it is functioning very well, very high. But first things first, I should talk about the Aries season. Real quick, Aries, this is like if you don't feel like you've kicked off the new year yet for some reason, Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. So this is the beginning of the zodiacal calendar. And Aries marks new beginnings. It is the spring season. So this is new journeys that you're about to go on. And it's very pioneering. It's very like risk taking. It's bold and courageous. It's starting things that you've never done before. And there's a lot of personal growth and self-discovery that's associated with Aries season. The sun represents our life purpose. So there is some kind of like rebirth or renewal in who we are, in our identity, in our purpose. And to have Mercury at Cazimi to start off the week, that is just sweetness, because with Mercury in this kind of position, your mental sharpness, your thinking, your clarity of understanding of things, of yourself, of life, of problems, of situations. Like if you needed a solution to a problem, this is where you're going to get this flash of clarity. And it's just going to be very obvious to you. There's a lot that's revealed during Mercury Cazimi. I remember in my last Mercury Cazimi moment, I actually forgot that day that it was Mercury Cazimi, and it was, about 4 or 5 hours long. And I ended up writing so much important material for one of my intensives. I mean, like the meat of the intensive, the meaning of the intensive, what all came through at that Mercury Cazimi. And then when I look back, I'm like, oh my goodness, that's what had happened. So very, very, very fascinating. So this is also going to really empower your communication, your clarity of communication, because that's what Mercury is all about. It's the way we communicate, and it's the way that we think. So you're probably going to get very like innovative ideas too, revolutionary ideas, pioneering ideas, because it has that Aries flavor to it. It's going to show you, what risks you should take, because Aries is about taking risks. It's about being bold, courageous, and risk taking. And the risk taking is good. It's not the kind, and I'm going to show you other reasons why, but it's not the kind that is like reckless and and it's not calculated or anything. Like, these are the risks you want to take. Okay, because it's going to send you to a whole new trajectory. But it is a great time for decision making, for problem solving, anything that requires intense mental activity. If you want to learn something complex, and maybe there's been a subject matter that you want to get, but it's not getting through, then this would be a time to put attention on that. Do it this day. Things will be easier to understand for you. One thing we do need to be careful is with being confrontational in our communication, because Aries is a bit aggressive. It can be also assertive, which is great, but just know that you need to also listen and not only be very like forceful and aggressive in your ideas and the way you want to express yourself too. Okay, so that is Mercury Cazimi. We also have Moon in Capricorn. Granted, it's in this last degree, so on Tuesday, Moon's going to be moving into Aquarius. However, Moon is very grounded here in Capricorn. It's practical, it's logical, it's analytical. So, it's ruled by Saturn, which is more strategic. So I love this influence that we have of the Moon. And the Moon is also, as you can see, has a lot of sextiles, and it is sextile to the Sun and Mercury too. So this is where I was saying is like, you're not just taking these impulsive, reckless like actions. It is also well thought out, and it's also calculated and measured from the Moon being in Capricorn. Look, if you've been sitting on some ideas and it may be, the last month or 2 months or last year or whatever, this would be the season. This is the window. This is the time to start it. Start something bold, something new, something a bit risky in nature. This is the time to do it. So whatever is really prominent for you, that's standing out for you, that your heart is just, because Aries is very, it's about self-discovery, and it's about honoring one's needs and wants and desires. It's taking care of the self. Okay. It's very self-focused. And we are not saying that as a bad thing. Okay. Because I don't know why our culture has this huge fear of being selfish, but it is very self-centered in a good way, because there's self-awareness happening and knowing, like, recognizing and honoring what your wants and desires are. So I like the grounded element of the Moon here, in case we get a little too out of hand. I feel like there's these checks and balances that are in place here. We also have Moon in sextile with Venus, which is really great for harmonious relationships and connection. I think that's going to only further enhance our communication with people in our lives. And then we have Moon in sextile with Neptune. I mean, there's just a lot of beautiful sextile, a lot of blue lines here that is supportive, and it's going to support our imagination and creativity. I mean, when you're coming up and generating new ideas, you're going to be working with your imagination and your visioning abilities, and being able to project into the future. So a lot of beautiful skill sets here. Now, Pluto is another one that has a lot of sextiles too. And for sure, look at this. So Pluto's up here in Aquarius, and Pluto is this planet of transformation and healing, and it's a very intense planet. It's real. It's deep. It is dealing with what's underneath, the hidden, the subconscious. And so all of that is being revealed and surfaced as it's shining onto this Mercury Cazimi. So this is where we have access into our hidden desires and our hidden motivations, okay? We can see it, we can feel it, we can taste it, smell it. It's just very vibrant and alive and obvious to us. This Pluto, with all of these sextiles to the Sun, to Venus, to Mercury, and even Neptune, I mean, this is going to provide powerful insights that maybe we just haven't really connected into before. Very like transformative perspective, very meaningful communication and connection. I mean, this is a transformational week, period. Okay. This is the week of major personal changes. So Don't expect this to be one of these chill, just another week. This ain't just another week. This is an intense, powerful, transformative, the start of something great kind of week for you. Do you want to know what your next birthday year holds? Well, your birthday is not just another celebration. It is a powerful astrological moment. It's when the sun returns to the same degree as when you were born, and whatever is in the sky on that day, that essentially is the birth chart for the entire year. And this reveals major themes, opportunities, and potential changes, transitions that you're going to be going through. So whether you want to know about career changes or relationship changes or possibly a move, all of it is there in the solar return chart. Now, don't navigate this next year blindly. Go ahead and book a solar return reading down below so that you are stepping into this new chapter with clarity and confidence. So, okay, and this is also going to bring a lot of like intimacy, vulnerability, connection, depth of connection and emotional bonds with the people of our lives and just even with ourselves. And another way to look at this, because Venus represents our pleasures, right? It's our desires. It's what's fun for us. And Venus is in retrograde. Don't forget, Venus is in retrograde. And because it's in retrograde, there is a lot of like reevaluation of what is fun and what is pleasure for us. What do we actually value? What do we really care about? What do we want to spend our money on? What do we want to spend our time on? And so with Pluto adding to this conversation, like it's allowing us to deep dive into our pleasures, and that doing so is actually a means of healing, and how like pleasure and play is a source of healing, of emotional healing, of healing our wounds. So this is a time to just surrender into your desires and surrender into your joys and your passions and your pleasures. Allow yourself to go there. It is not selfish. It is not a waste of time. It is not productive. In fact, it is the most productive, powerful thing that you can do right now at this time. Okay, now let's continue on to, let's see. Oh, Pluto sextile the sun. I do want to mention that too, because it is sextile multiple things. And with it sextiling the sun is our identity. So as I said, like there's something about our own identity, about our own life purpose that is getting so much concentrated attention and revelation. So there is this emergence that is happening because it's in Aries. So there is like a new birth of yourself. There is something about your identity that has been hidden for a long time, and it's now coming out and emerging out into the world, and wants expression, and it wants play. So let me know down in the comments if any of this is connecting with you. And also, what is this identity? What is this new version of you that is coming forward, that wants to be seen, that wants to be active, that wants to be engaged with? Let me know what you are experiencing and seeing. I'm so curious. All right. So those are our Pluto sextiles that we've got going on. I do want to talk about Saturn here. So Saturn is no longer combust. We talked about that last week. So Saturn, I mean, it's, you know, there are better positions than in Pisces, but it's a lot stronger than it was for a while. Look at Saturn is in trine. Okay, I'm super nerding out. Okay, so it's trine to Mars. We talked about this last week, but now we're feeling like more of the power of this. And it's also sextile to Uranus. So let's first talk about the sextile to Uranus. I really love this. And I talked about how this is going to be around way into September. And Uranus is about breakthrough energy. It is about innovation. It's about new. It's about change. It's about transition into something totally different. And so, you know, this pairs nicely essentially with what's happening in Aries. And remember, we're having an Aries eclipse. So Aries, it's all about Aries. But with Saturn talking to Uranus in this blue line sextile, this is going to basically blend change and innovation with structure and stability and groundedness. So this new emergence that I've been talking about since you started watching this, right? we're able to really implement into our lives, integrate into our lives in this smooth and seamless way where it's not actually creating a massive disruption and chaos. I mean, yeah, it is disruptive, but it's in a very positive way. Like we're able to integrate this change. We're able to hold on to this change and stabilize it into our being rather than it being just like a quick flash and then it's gone. So the changes that we're all going through, that you're going through, this is for real. This is not a joke. And I'm sure you feel it in yourself. I mean, do you physically feel it? This eclipse season, I feel like I have 5 shots of espresso every single day. Like my energy level is just, I am buzzing like crazy. I feel the literal like breaking out of a cage, and that's the energy of Uranus. It's liberating. It's a liberation. So it is breaking free from the chains of our old identity so that the new can emerge and burst out and soar and fly. So Saturn essentially grounds in this new change and transformation we're going through. It holds it in place. But there's still a lot of flexibility and adaptability, because if you think about Pisces is a water sign, right? And Pisces is very fluid. I mean, water is not structured like metal, right? So we have Saturn that is like metal structure in like water. So our structure has some like flexibility and fluidity to it. So it's not like super harsh and rigid and like super friction oriented either. There is this flexibility and adaptability. So we can, implement this new thing, and Saturn helps us to hold it and maintain it. But if it's not really like working out, Saturn is just a little bit more flexible here in Pisces versus if it was, sitting in Capricorn, for example, in an earth sign. So I love the flexibility with structure. It's both. We have both of these energies present here. And another great phrase is like controlled evolution. Like it's almost like, okay, we're easily able to implement, and it's gradually bringing us into this whole different dimension. It isn't erratic in a way that it's causing harm or just major like inflammation. It's an easy form of transition that we are moving towards. So that is our Monday. And then Mars with the Saturn here, it's going to get better and better as Mars moves over into Leo, into its fire sign. But this is our ability to stick with this change, and to stick with our motivations, to stick with our goals and ambitions with this energy and this drive and just commitment and showing up day in and day out. Like I said, it's not the here, now, and gone tomorrow. This is here to stay. This is absolutely here to stay. Okay. So that's our Monday. Let's go on to Tuesday. Tuesday is not as eventful as Monday, but still important. Okay, so Moon has transitioned. It is into Aquarius. It is in conjunction with Pluto. So we're going to have the intensity of Pluto here. So we're going to feel it in that sense. Here, with Moon in Aquarius, there is a focus again on independence. Uranus is the modern ruler of Aquarius, and all the things I talked about with Uranus, which is like breakthrough, innovation, change. That's what the Moon is craving here. It's going to want to break from the usual, break from routine. It needs something different. It needs excitement. It needs something better. It's always looking for something better when we're in Aquarius. So it is more logical in nature too. It's not as emotional as if it's in a water sign. However, we do have Pluto next to the Moon, so we'll be feeling plenty with that conjunction as well. Moon also has a nice trine over to Jupiter, which brings more optimism and hope and joy and compassion and kindness. So I think with Moon in Aquarius and Jupiter talking to it, there's going to be a lot more compassion for others and care for others as well. Okay, and this can bring some very good like opportunities and luck your way too. All right, so then let's go on to Wednesday. Wednesday has a square to Uranus now. Now, when we have squares to Uranus with the Moon, it is the kind of unpredictable, erratic moodiness that can surge through our system here on this day. So there may be craving for excitement, but there can also be more impulsivity. So just expect a lot of activity in your emotions. And I notice, like for me, random things arise that are so unpredictable that you could never see coming a mile away. And you're like, oh, great, now I have to deal with that. So there is that component here. But it may also be a time of emotional breakthroughs. Like, have you ever come across something or someone or yourself where you're like, I can't take it anymore. I can't take it anymore. Like, that's enough. I've had enough. Enough is enough is enough. Like, this is it. I'm not engaging with this anymore. I'm not going to talk about this anymore. I'm not going to have that kind of relationship anymore. I mean, I can just remember back when I was initially separating from my ex-husband, there was a day, it was a Monday. I remember vividly where I was like, I'm done. Yeah, I'm done. Yeah. No, I'm not going to try to fix this. I'm filing for divorce. Yeah, finished. Can't do it anymore. And I committed all the way through. I never entertained for 1 second that I would try to repatch the relationship or whatever, or stop the divorce. No, there was a clear moment where I was like, that's it. We're finished. We're done. So that's an example of like a moon and Uranus square or opposition kind of moment where you're like, okay, that's it. Enough, never again, never again. And that's like breaking those chains, right? So that gives you an example. Okay, now let's go on to Thursday. And look, we have an eclipse coming. So I'm not trying to like rush quickly through this, but Monday's pretty significant. And then Thursday, it's significant. We got a lot happening on Thursday, and then we have the eclipse coming up. So we have a transition with our moon. Our moon has left Aquarius and now it's in Pisces, which we have been dealing with Pisces stelliums for ages now, it feels like. So I feel like I've been talking up Pisces forever. And Pisces is the energy of creativity, of spirituality, of sensitivity and empathy, intuition. All the feels here and all the creative energy comes from Pisces. It's also very like self-reflective. It's more inward, okay? It's very spiritual. It's not as like go-getter action oriented. We do get plenty of that from the sun and Mercury right now, but as you can see that we are now like when the moon is next to a planet, or especially in the same sign too, it's absorbing like the energies of those planets and beaming it down into us. Think of the moon as like a filter of all of the energies of the planets from the moon down into the body, because the moon actually represents our physical body and our emotional body. So we're going to be physically feeling, energetically, emotionally feeling Saturn, Venus, and Neptune here. And this is going to really increase because like Neptune and Venus are here. Our level of sensitivity is going to be off the charts today, very much so. So we want to make sure that we have good boundaries blends being applied, or my Wipe the Day Away blend. You can find that on my Instagram page as well. And then we do have some sense of responsibility that's coming into the mix with Saturn. Saturn makes us care about things that are more practical in nature, that are more grounded in this dimension, that we do need to address and take care of. But yes, your creative work, your spiritual life, like all of these things are going to be more heightened, okay? More heightened and amplified with the moon in Pisces. And then moon does have a square to Jupiter. This day you gotta be careful with overindulgence because Jupiter expands things. I can see emotional eating being an issue over here. So I noticed that with me, like I crave a bit more sugar when moon is in square with Jupiter, but that's just my personal experience. Pay attention to that. Don't go overboard. Think moderation. Moderation. And also exposing yourself to water might be something that's helpful if for some reason these planets, it's just too much for you to experience. Okay, so actually instead of Thursday, I meant Friday. So Friday is like moon to the max. Do you see moon over here? It's still in Pisces at 25 degrees of Pisces. And it has all of these trines. There's so many trines. There's so many conjunctions. I mean, I feel like our feelings and our thoughts, and I'm not saying it's negative, it's just going to be a lot of different things. Like, have you ever felt, 5 different feelings all at once? And you're just like, oh, I feel this and this and this and that and that and that. And, they may be all very different, but they're all there and they're all loud. So a lot of our feelings are going to be super, super loud. Here, we have it very close to Saturn, and Saturn does have sometimes this cloudy heaviness associated with it. So if you feel a little bit more somber and more wanting to be recluse, I can see that happening, like wanting to just be alone on Friday, not necessarily wanting to engage with the world or be in public or just be very like extroverted. I can see wanting to just go more inwards and taking care of important responsibilities, because that's what Saturn represents. But it's also conjunct the North Node. So take a look at where your North Node is in your natal chart. I got a link down below to look it up if you don't know how to. And most likely your North Node is probably going to get heightened and amplified on this day. You're going to care more about the activities of where your North Node is sitting. I'm going to give you an example of mine. My natal North Node is in the 10th house, which is the house of career. I'm probably going to be working a lot that day. And if you think about Saturn, Saturn is hard work, commitment, discipline, structure. I'll probably be, and I will, because that's my private session day. That's when I do consultations. That's when I do private sessions. So, and I already have many scheduled that day. So I'll be knee deep in that. Look at how it worked out. Perfect. So it's also being so close to Venus and Neptune. I know it looks like it's spread out throughout the sign, but I want you to pay attention to the degrees. Look, they are sandwiched together. Saturn's at 24 degrees. Moon is at 25 degrees. North Node is at 27 degrees. Venus is at 29 degrees. Neptune is at 29 degrees. I mean, there's 4 degrees difference between Moon and Neptune and Moon and Venus. Like that, they're basically sandwiched together. They're together, okay? They're fused. It looks like they're spread out, but they're not. They're like fused together. So Moon is feeling all of those planets. So your, again, imagination, creativity, sensitivity, spirituality, like your ability to connect into other dimensions if you are an empath, like that's all going to be amplified. Your ability to connect with your angels and your guides, all going to be majorly amplified. If you communicate with spirits, amplify all of that. Very, very loud. All these conjunctions. And then it's trining Mars. It's trining Mars. So then that adds more yang, that adds more fire and more activity and even passion. Like I could see this being one of those, I'm going to go deep dive into my creative project and just go in, because Mars is your passion, okay? Your goals, what's fun for you too, like what you care about, what's most important. And Saturn can bring that level of focus. So when you're wanting to be productive and engaged and active and like in your creative work, in your art, in your intuition, like there is a hyper focus and energy, because Mars brings a lot of energy. Like you're not going about it in a tired way. You're going at it like full force. So that's what's available to us. And oh my gosh, not only that, Moon is sextile Uranus. Okay. Before yesterday, wasn't it in square? Yeah, that's not the easiest combination. But when it's in sextile, now this like breakthrough, innovative energy is available. So maybe in your creative life or in your creative work or in your spiritual giftings or intuitive skills, you're going to access a whole new level that you haven't touched before, or there's going to be a change in your approach or in your style or in your method. So very, very cool day, really fun day. And what a nice setup into our solar eclipse that's happening on Saturday. So I have the exact time here for you when it's happening. So it's happening at 9 degrees of Aries. Look at that, 00 minutes. This is a North Node eclipse. So remember these nodes, it looks like a headphones, that's North Node, and on the opposite end is the South Node. These are points along the ecliptic. And whenever you have, moon either, and the sun as part of this mixture, of course, but when the moon is within 15 degrees of that ecliptic point and it's a new moon or a full moon, now we're dealing with an eclipse. And if you take a look at it, I know the North Node's in Pisces. I totally understand, but it is within 15 degrees. We've got 27 degrees of Pisces. So there's 30 degrees in a sign. So we've got 3 degrees in Pisces and 9 degrees in Aries. So that's 12 degrees. We're within 15 degrees. So that means this is a solar eclipse. Whenever it's a new moon, it's a solar eclipse, okay? So this is a North Node eclipse. If you recall from my previous forecast, when I talked about the Virgo lunar eclipse, that was a South Node eclipse. And know that eclipses in general, great beginnings, great endings, okay? Great beginnings, great endings. And when we have a North Node eclipse, this means our topic and themes are more about great beginnings. Our last lunar eclipse, that was about great endings. What are we letting go? Okay. This is what is the new? What is the major new? And eclipses are very, very concentrated, potent, powerful energy. This is not a little tiny change. This is a massive change. This is like a fated, destined, karmic change. This is a whole new trajectory. And it's an Aries eclipse, which is about new beginnings. So think about it. It's like new upon new upon new. Breakthrough energy, okay? We've talked about Uranus as part of this mixture. And Uranus is in sextile with the North Node. It's in sextile with Venus, with Neptune, with Saturn. I mean, this is breakthrough, life-changing, is seriously wanting to be birthed into your life, into your identity. This is the next evolution of you. This is like a new year. It's like a new year. It has a whole new year energy. And remember, we have to incorporate the energies of Aries within this eclipse. And this is a new moon, okay? So we got Aries, we've got new moon, we've got a North Node eclipse, new upon new upon new. It is newness. And with Aries, with it being in Aries, and it's also in conjunction with Mercury, okay, this is new that is very pioneering for you. This is the time to take those risks. This is the time to now go into unknown territories. You are navigating something now that you've never experienced. There might not even be a roadmap for it. There might not even be a certification course for it. No. It's just you going out into the unknown and trying to plant the seeds and sprout something from scratch. So understand that this is about the courage to follow your destiny, your true path, your North Node, your life purpose. This is you just stepping forward. It's time. You have so much stacked for you to support you. I mean, think of this as like the biggest kick in the butt. Huge for you to just jump. This is the leap. This is the leap into this new world are entering, whether we love it or not, whether we like it or not. Sorry, everything's changing. Have you seen the news? Everything is changing. Whether we like it or not, it doesn't matter. It's a new place. This is new. And then to add Neptune at the end of this month going into Aries, you see this 29 degrees of Neptune. That's now going to be coming in to Aries, and we're going to start having more and more Aries stelliums. It's okay if you're a little afraid. I totally understand. And do it anyways. Because it's going to be on your side. It's on your side. When you start something new with this level of backing and support, there is success with it. There is success with it. You don't need to worry too much. You don't need to be so afraid. I mean, again, if you have fear, fine. I have it all the time, but that's not something that stops me from taking important next steps. And so enjoy this energy. See what is passion is just rising up from inside of you. and where your focus and where your intention is and what you really care about. That's why Venus has been in retrograde, to help us reevaluate, like, what do we really want? What do you really actually want? Not something that you thought you wanted because maybe you did want it in the past, but that's not the case anymore. Or it's something that your family wanted for you, or your social circles wanted for you, or the communities or groups that you've been around that have been trying to instill something in you. And you're just kind of like, I'm not really into that anymore. And that is perfectly okay. It's okay. This is the time to be different. Okay, so this is a huge catalyst for change. The world's changing, and now it's time for you to step up and evolve with this change. Otherwise, it's going to be really, really rough. So if it's scary, if it's unknown, if it makes you a little nervous and excited, you're probably on the right path. All right, so that is my soapbox for the eclipse. Then Sunday, we have a square and a couple of trines. Moon that is in square with Mars. Moon is going to be in Aries because it was in Aries during the eclipse. So look, your moon in Aries is also gonna love this. Let me start something new. It's gonna want it, and it's gonna have energy for change too, because Mars is the ruler of Aries. But we do have a square in Mars here, so this can bring some frustration and irritability. Let's say you do start something new on Saturday, and then the very next day there's kind of like a hangover around it. And if you're like, oh, this is so annoying, look, practice patience, please. It's going to pass. I promise it's going to pass. At least you have Mercury in trine with Mars and Neptune in trine with Mars. So that will help, with your thinking and your visions to really understand like the bigger picture and to sustain that passion and that drive for this new emergence that is happening within you. Okay, so thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed the forecast. And if you would like to get more support with essential oils and meditations and things of that nature, I recommend checking out my Rise and Thrive membership. That is down below. Also, how to look up your astrological chart. And oh my gosh, where is this eclipse happening in the Aries portion of your chart? I should have asked you that from yesterday for Saturday. Yes, let me know where's the Aries portion of your chart? What house number is this over? So like, to give you an idea, right here in this example, this eclipse is in the second house of, let's say, this hypothetical chart. And the second house has to do with finances. So this could be someone getting a new job, for example, a brand new job if you've got your Aries in the second house. It could be something related to the home as well. So yeah, because it deals with property. So that maybe there is a purchase of a new home. See, there's so many possibilities, but where is it in your chart? And then I'll go ahead and comment below what are some possibilities where this eclipse energy is hyper focused within your life. What subsection of your life is it focused upon? Okay, thank you so much, and we will see you in the next forecast. Your birthday is not just another birthday. It's actually a powerful astrological moment, and it sets the tone for the entire year. Basically, when the sun returns to the exact same degree as when you were born, and you take a look at what planets are in the sky at that moment, that is the birth chart for the entire year. So this reveals major themes and potential changes and opportunities that are waiting for you. What's amazing about this is that you get a strategic roadmap on how to navigate your year, and knowing what areas of your life are in major focus, what are these expected transitions, and what energies do you have to work with. I'm an experienced astrologer, healer, and I work with elemental medicine, and I transfer astrological insights into very practical guidance. So decode your year ahead and go ahead and book a solar return reading, and that is in the link down below so that your path forward is illuminated.